It was just after the lunch rush, when the cafe had settled into that quiet hum only tired plates and half-finished coffees can make. At the corner table, farthest from the window, a young mother sat with her little boy tucked close to her side. She kept smoothing his hair, the same gentle motion over and over, as if the rhythm itself could hold the world together. The boy's shoes didn't quite touch the floor. His head rested against her arm, heavy with something deeper than sleep. Most people didn't notice them at first. They looked ordinary enough: a tired mom, a quiet child, a small paper cup of water between them that neither had touched in a long while. But if you watched closely, you saw the way she kept checking the door, the way her fingers trembled just slightly when she reached for the menu she couldn't afford to open. Amir had been working the afternoon shift for 3 years. He knew every regular, every order, every corner where sunlight fell at 4 o'clock. He prided himself on moving fast, keeping tables clear, earning tips with a quick smile that never quite reached his eyes anymore. That day he passed their table 3 times without stopping. The woman never waved him over, never complained. She only pulled her son a little closer. On the 4th pass, something made Amir slow down. Maybe it was the way the boy's cheek had left a faint smudge on her worn coat. Maybe it was the single tear that slipped down her face so quietly no one else saw it land. And then the child lifted his head, just enough to speak. His voice was small, cracked from hunger and cold. "Mommy," he whispered, "I'm so tired. Can we go home now?" The words floated across the cafe like a prayer no one was meant to hear. But Amir heard them. He stopped completely, tray balanced against his hip, heart suddenly too loud in his chest. The mother brushed the boy's hair again and answered softly, "Soon, sweetheart. We're just resting a bit longer." She tried to smile, but it broke in the middle. Amir didn't know their story yet. He didn't know the landlord had changed the locks that morning, or that everything they owned was in the 2 small bags under the table. He only knew the child's whisper had landed inside him like a stone dropped into still water. He set his tray down at the counter, walked to the kitchen, and did something he had never done before. He filled a bowl with warm lentil soup, the kind his own mother used to make when he was small. He added 2 thick slices of bread, still soft in the middle. Then he carried it back himself. No ticket, no explanation. When he reached their table, the mother looked up, startled. Amir placed the bowl in front of the boy and said, very gently, "It's on the house. Please." She opened her mouth, maybe to refuse, maybe to thank him, but no sound came. The little boy stared at the steam rising from the bowl, as if it were a miracle he had stopped believing in. "Eat, little one," Amir said. "It's warm." The boy looked at his mother. She nodded, eyes shining too brightly. He picked up the spoon with both hands and took his first bite. A tiny sound escaped him, half sigh, half sob, and he leaned into his mother's side as he ate. Amir started to walk away, but the woman reached out and touched his sleeve. "Thank you," she whispered. "God sent you today." He shook his head. "I was just passing by." "No," she said, voice trembling with certainty. "You stopped." Wordlessly, Amir pulled out the chair across from them and sat down for the first time in his shift. He didn't know why, only that leaving felt impossible now. Over the next 20 minutes, pieces of their story came out in quiet sentences between spoonfuls. The husband who left 2 winters ago. The jobs that never lasted. The eviction notice taped to the door that very morning. She told it without bitterness, only gratitude that her son had made it through another day. When the bowl was empty, the boy looked up at Amir with round, serious eyes. "Are you an angel?" he asked. Amir laughed, a sound he hadn't made in months. "No, just a waiter who finally listened." He stood, cleared their table himself, and when he returned, he placed a small paper bag beside her. Inside were 2 sandwiches wrapped in wax paper, an apple, and a note that simply read, "For tomorrow. You are not alone." The woman tried to give him money. 3 crumpled dollars she pulled from her pocket, but he closed her hand gently around them. "Keep it," he said. "You'll need bus fare." As they gathered their bags to leave, the boy ran back and wrapped his arms around Amir's legs. "Thank you for the warmth," he said. Amir knelt down and hugged him back, feeling the small heartbeat against his own. "Thank you for reminding me," he whispered. That evening, long after the cafe closed, Amir sat alone counting his tips. He took half of what he'd earned that day, more than he could really spare, and slipped it into an envelope. On the front he wrote, "For the corner table family." Then he left it with the morning manager and asked that it be given to them if they ever came back. They did come back, 1 week later. But this time the mother walked in with her head high, a new name tag on her coat that read Sarah, barista in training. The owner had hired her on the spot after hearing what happened. The boy ran straight to Amir and handed him a crayon drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands beneath a bright yellow sun. Years later, when the cafe had grown and changed owners twice, people still told the story of the day a whisper stopped a waiter in his tracks. They said if you sat in that same corner booth on quiet afternoons, you could almost hear it again. A child's tired voice, a mother's silent prayer, and the soft sound of a heart choosing kindness over hurry. Sometimes the smallest act, stopping when you could have kept walking, becomes the biggest miracle someone ever receives. If this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, share it with someone who needs reminding that goodness is still alive. And the next time you pass by a corner table, look a little longer. You never know whose angel you might be today.